Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NC podcast. My name is Natasha Collins, and I am the host and founder of NC Real Estate, which includes its members club for landlords and property investors to come and build profitable property portfolios that completely aligns with their goals. I know that at the moment, we are in a complete state of flux. There is so much going on, so much information coming out. Things are changing on a daily basis. So I have put together a working paper called Property Investment and COVID-19 in the UK. This is free for all of you, and I'm updating this routinely. So if you'd like access to that PDF, click on the link below this podcast in the show notes. It's ncrealestatemembers.com/COVID-19. That link is below. You click on that and there'll be a big button that says get the PDF. Click on that and it will just pop up. I'm not asking for your email address or anything. Don't worry, I'm not about to spam you. This is just purely information for you guys, and I am updating it as we go. It is strategy, it's tips of what to do, it's help, it's reassurance. Don't lose your mind and start panicking before you have read that PDF. So again, go download that PDF, but also as things change, go back to that link, which is always going to be below this podcast. Click on the link, download the new update. I think at the time of recording, we're on version 4, but we're a couple of weeks before this is going out. So by the time you get there, it might have updated another couple of times, but please make sure you're doing that. Right, I have somebody absolutely incredibly awesome on my podcast today. It is such a pleasure. Mel Savage is an ex-corporate lifer who decided to believe in herself and open her own business. She is the founder of the Career Reset, which is a career coaching organization designed to help people turn the career they have into the career they want. She has 20 plus years in senior management at a Fortune 500 company in Canada and the UK, is a certified career coach, TEDx speaker, and the host of the Career Reset podcast. And honestly, from my heart, the most incredible woman who is being the best mentor, support, and encouragement for NC Real Estate. Mel, thank you for being on my podcast.
Natasha, of course. I'm so excited, and what a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Honestly, it's so amazing to have you here. You are one of my biggest supporters, and I cannot thank you enough for always being there to pick up the phone to me or just reassure me. It makes me so happy. So how could you pull yourself back? How could I pull myself back into that mindset?
Well, I think there's so many ways. It's really defining what works for you. The first thing, sometimes you can just show compassion and go, you can just recognize it and go, thanks, brain. I got this. You know, your brain is trying to protect you from something hard. We're wired that way, like from caveman days, to protect ourselves, to have pleasure and to protect ourselves from pain. So your brain is protecting you. You can just be compassionate with yourself and just say, okay, yeah, I get that you're protecting me, but it's okay. I got this. We're okay. You can just say that to yourself when you recognize it, and get used to recognizing it, neutralize it. Sometimes life is 50-50. It's not sunshine and happiness all day, every day. It's okay that sometimes you're sad or afraid or nervous, or anxious. Just recognize it and say, yeah, it's okay. We got this, one step at a time. Whatever you need to say to yourself to have compassion. And once you have compassion and you sort of accept the way you're feeling, because no feeling that you have is a bad feeling. There's nothing bad about any of your feelings, no matter what they are. It's just a matter of consciously deciding, okay, from here, do I want to keep feeling this? Are these going to drive the results that I'm looking for? And you said something really great just now when you were talking about how you approach your business when you say, I got this, because you're no longer worried about how many people are listening or if someone's calling you back, and you're no longer trying to control those uncontrollable results, right? You're focused on yourself. I'm just going to plant these seeds today. You can control that. I'm just going to, answer this person back. I'm just going to send out this many emails, right? I'm just going to ask this many people to do whatever. Those are things you can control. So when you can tick them off and say, okay, I've done all these things that I meant to do today, the things that I can control, and I'm just going to keep moving forward. Keep analyzing. Did this work yesterday? Did that not work? Do I need to change anything? Am I on the right track? Great. Keep moving forward. Things
Hmm.
you can control.
And so how do you keep control? How do you keep organized with that kind of stuff? Because it's really easy
Mm-hmm.
to do it for one day,
Mm-hmm.
and then over the course of a little bit of time, you fall off the rails almost with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I always say you need to clean up your brain as often as you clean your face. So every day, you know, your brain needs to be cleaned out. And so I recommend, highly recommend that everyone needs to be journaling and getting those thoughts out, and not just, you know, digitally on a Google Doc, old school, write it down, whatever. It really sinks in that way. You need to get the thoughts out of your brain and on paper, because your brain is where the problem is. So if you're going to
Mhm,
go in there and fix stuff, it's going to get very, very complicated. And I shied away from journaling for many, many years. I thought, I'm smart enough. I got this. I can work through my head. You know, I've got lots of time in my car when I'm commuting or whatever. But it's not really until you get it out on paper where you have all those aha moments where you really
mhm,
see what's going on. So one of the things I recommend is, you know, I have 3 impossible goals for this year.
mhm,
And every day I write them down in my journals. I start there, and then I pick one to focus on for the day, and I write down all my thoughts about that goal. And then I do a unintentional model, which is the whole, okay, how am I thinking right now? How is it making me feel? Like, these are more unconscious, unintentional ways of thinking. And then I move to a more intentional way. Okay, how do I want to show up today for this goal? What is
mhm.
it that I want to get done today? And honestly, it takes me 15 minutes every morning to journal and get my mindset focused for the day. And just like you wouldn't just work out one day and then stop working out and expect yourself to be, you know, your healthy, most fittest self, it's the same with your brain. You have to practice it every day.
And so when you're writing down impossible goals, how do you
Mhm.
set how do you set those goals that are actually you're able to achieve something by doing this mindset work? How do you set them?
Well, for me, how I set them and how I encourage my clients to set them is to, you know, what would you do if you could do anything? What is like a wildly unrealistic goal for yourself that you want to achieve? How uncomfortable is it? It has to make you uncomfortable.
Mhm,
If you're comfortable with the goal and you're sure you can achieve it, then it's not impossible. So you pick their goals based on just really deciding what it is that you want to achieve. If you didn't know all your past and have all this evidence of what you could and couldn't do, if you just have these impossible goals, set them for yourself and then start moving forward on them. Now, what I do every day with my journal is, first, you want to keep them in your mind. You want to keep your goals top of mind. And every day you can decide what you want to do for those goals. You know, obviously, you don't just plan your life day to day. You know, you have, you know, work back schedules and lots of things that you're trying to do in your calendars or all that kind of stuff. I totally get that. But how you're going to show up that day
mhm.
for what you're trying to achieve that day is so important, just to revisit and move towards your goals. And then you sort of say to yourself, okay, what did I do today to reach this goal? Great. Did it work? Great. Didn't it work? Great. Do I need to adjust anything? Great. And you just keep moving forward. You keep revisiting and moving forward. And you
So
start to believe after a while that you can do it.
so how do you get into that flow of moving forward rather than trying to control situations, things not going right, and you're just getting completely frustrated?
Well, here's the thing, like, things won't go right, quote unquote, right? You know, because we all have these predetermined outcomes that we have in our head of how we want things to go. So the key is just to, you have goals, you have things you want to achieve. That's fine. Keep moving towards them. Sometimes things are going to go sideways. Okay. You know, you have to decide, okay, based on what just happened, circumstances being thrown at you, i.e. coronavirus right now, I have business goals and financial goals I'm trying to achieve. Coronavirus was like, you know, something that went sideways. I'm like, okay, now what am I going to do? How am I changing? My goal hasn't changed. my
Mm-hmm.
tactics towards getting that goal, my mindset, managing my mindset through what's happening right now to get to my goal is what needs to be adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
So my recommendation to everyone is not to be, you know, stuck on out and how your outcome is going to be achieved. Right. So I remember you said to me, we were talking about this was if you have a, 2,000 pound a month income goal for your properties, a net income goal for your properties, and you want to achieve that over 18 months. Some people might say, well, I'm going to do that based on this one property over the next 18 months and yada, yada, yada. Well, you know what? Maybe that's a great goal to set at the beginning. Maybe that's a great impossible goal to set at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe over the course of the 18 months, you learn that, okay, you're going to make those 2,000 pounds, but it's not going to come from the one property. It's going to come from pieces of different things that you're putting together. You need to bob and weave your way through it and not be attached to the outcomes and be okay with that. Things aren't always going to go perfectly. Sometimes you're going to fail. Sometimes there's going to be some missteps, and it's learning to fail confidently and understanding that failure is just a process error. Like don't take it personally, right? It's just,
Mm-hmm.
this didn't go well. And, oh, I screwed that up. Like, okay, what am I going to do now? It's not personal. It's
Mm-hmm.
just about, using it as information to take your next step forward.
So how do we fail confidently? Because
Okay.
that can be one of
Yeah.
the hardest things to do. What does
Yeah.
that look like?
Well, first of all, again, I would suggest that, whenever you're feeling like you can't, you're not managing your mind as well as you want to, you should do this model. You should download your thoughts, understand what your thoughts, the feelings your thoughts are driving, actions, results, etc., and then choose a new behavior. But the one thing I'll say to everyone is failure is a circumstance. Okay. So let's say, I didn't achieve my financial goal this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that's a circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
You get to decide what you make that mean.
Mm-hmm.
You can make it mean that, you suck and you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing and you'll never be successful. And, just might as well give up the whole thing. You can make it mean all those things, or you can make it mean, okay, this is an opportunity for me to figure out how to do things differently. Or I can think, you can think, I didn't make my goal, but I did a 20% increase over last year. So now how am I going to make up the gap? You
Mm-hmm.
can make it mean whatever you want. The challenge is a lot of people take it personally. They
Yeah.
look at it as evidence that they're not worthy,
Mm-hmm.
versus what it really is evidence that they need to adjust their tactics or their mindset. Really, that's really all failure is. Okay, that didn't work. What will I do differently next time?
Mm-hmm.
It's a learning opportunity. And I always say to my clients, learning to fail confidently is as critical a skill of success as learning to give feedback, or learning to be productive in your day, or learning to build relationships. Learning to fail confidently is a really key skill. And so many people, leaders out there, people who are talking about how to be great at what you do or be successful will tell you, practice failing. Just practice failing and being okay with it. Like, I think it was Ramit Sethi, I think Amy Porterfield also said this once too, is like, have a file and your goal is to fail 5 times a week. And every failure you have, just put it in your file folder and celebrate it at the end of the week. And you can start by do small things if it's really freaking you out, right? It doesn't always have to be about your investment strategy, but it can
Mm-hmm.
also be about anything. The idea is to get used to failing and almost gamify the idea of failing and get used to it, get comfortable with it, and start to build on the size of your failures. And practice making them not personal. They're just a process error. It's just indicating to you that you need to tweak your approach.
That's a really interesting thing. So, what would you say is a small failure? What is it? Where could we practice?
Well, it's different for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but it depends on what's important to you. Me, I am I really like cooking, but I'm definitely a novice. So, I'm always trying new recipes out, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. I don't take it personally when it doesn't. And in fact, I try to push myself out of my comfort zone. And if it doesn't taste totally yummy, like I don't just quit cooking. I just try again next time. And I'm not taking it personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be, when it comes to investment portfolio, I don't know, it depends. This is about money and how much you want to risk. But maybe there are some small things you could do, or at work, or in how you ask for something that you want at work, for instance. For one of the things, I do a lot of networking on LinkedIn. So right now I'm offering people to help them do change management meetings with their teams to help manage their mindset through change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm offering them for free. And I'm going through my network and I'm offering everyone. So meaning, if I ask 1,000 people, I'm throwing out a number, but let's say I ask 1,000 people and only 10 say yes. Okay. 1%. I can focus on, yes, 1%. I can focus on, either the 99% that said no, or I can focus on the 10% that said yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to me. And I think if I get 10 people inviting me into their organizations to help coach their teams through change management, wow, what a huge win that would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we get to choose what we focus on.
So actually then,
And,
failures
sorry,
don't...
one more thing. I'll just add one more thing, Natasha. The thing I was going to say about that too is the ask is risking the failure. That's a small failure, right? So I'm asking someone, or I'm saying to someone, hey, I can come and do this. I won't hear from them. People ignore you, like whatever. Or someone says, thanks, but no thanks. Are those failures? Am I okay with those failures? Yeah, you know what? I guess they are failures, but there's nothing wrong with them. I don't take them personally. Mm-hmm. It's not going to stop me from asking again.
So it's almost you're taking the learning from it.
Yeah.
And every time you learn, it's a chance to grow, but you also need to see the success in it.
It's an attitude. You can look at the opportunity. You can look for what's working or what's missing, mm-hmm. for sure. And, one of the things I learned from failure is you got to ask for what you want. And the more you ask, the more people say yes. Maybe the percentage of people that say yes is the same, but the more I ask, the more success I get. So those are just, that's one thing I've learned from failure over time. And I've learned that when people ignore me, that's not personal at all.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot going on in their lives. So.
And that's a really good mindset that people can take away from this podcast for when you're looking for deals or you're looking to find finance. If someone doesn't come back to you or a deal doesn't work, it's not because of you necessarily. Mm-hmm. It's just because of the situation. And that goes back to the element of control then, that you can't control what the other person says or does.
No, you can't, but you can control, like, if you want to do a deal and all this, the basic steps you need to take to do the deal. Mm-hmm. You just got to make sure that you're showing up every day and either doing those steps or understanding, the slight tweaks to those steps that you need to make that keep the deal happening. Mm-hmm. And if it's not this deal, it'll be the next deal. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of how, it's called massive action. Call it massive action. Just keep going and taking action and not letting failure stop you, and get creative about the steps that you're taking to make your goals a reality.
Okay, so as we wrap up this podcast, what can people do in their routine on a daily basis to make their goals a reality and create massive success in their lives and businesses?
Get aware of their thoughts. Mm-hmm. Because when you get aware of your thoughts, when you journal every day and do thought downloads against your goals, and get aware of how you're thinking about your goals, and choose how you want to think about achieving your goals, then that is going to propel you forward. When you start trying to take action without changing your thoughts, you are constantly fighting against resistance. Mm-hmm. So, if I am taking action in my business, but my thoughts are, I am not a good coach, I don't know what I'm doing, no one wants to coach with me, but I keep, every day putting myself out there regardless, sometimes it takes a little bit of that to get going, but over the long run, you cannot sustain that. Mm-hmm. Right? So I would say, Ultimately, if I want to be successful in my business, I need to change how I think about whatever it is that's driving the results that I don't like.
Mm. And how long would you advise people to set aside a day? And are we doing this, should we do this on morning or in the evening?
Well, I'm a morning person. I would suggest you do it wherever you can do it consistently.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm a morning person. I get up, I do my exercise, I start to journal. The Miracle Morning, there's a bunch of books out there that talk about how, you want to start your day off with, spiritual, mental, emotional cleansing, physical, right? But you have to do what's right for you. I'm
Hmm.
great in the morning. Some people are rubbish in the morning. So, if you want to do it at night, do it at night. Reflect on the day
Hmm.
and set yourself up for success the next day.
Amazing.